So this is kind of strange, but I have a little box here that I keep an old SIM card in just in case. And this is what we're gonna use for the trick. So your audience member can write down a name or anything they want on a little slip of paper that goes inside the case. This could be a makeup case. It could be like an empty matchbook even, just something that you can kind of clasp together, and you're gonna hold this behind your back. And somehow, not only are you going to be able to start sort of reading their mind immediately, you're going to be able to guess this word. So let's get into it right now. How's it going, guys? This is the Hobbyist Magic channel. My name is Michael, encouraging you to enjoy the hobby of magic, whether that be through magic trick tutorials or magic reviews. So consider subscribing if you haven't already. I also wanted to give a huge shout out to my members, my channel members, both at the supporter and insider tier. You guys are the best and I appreciate you supporting me. And if you want to get in on that, there's exclusive content at both levels, as well as some other things. So check that out if you'd like to dive even deeper with this channel. You can click the join button below. But with all that said, there will be no further interruptions from me throughout this video, so let's dive into the magic. Welcome to the video. This is another classic from Theodore Animan's Practical Mental Magic. We're continuing to cover that this month, so be sure to check out the tutorial playlists to see more. And keep checking back this month if you want to learn more mentalism tricks. So this one's a little bit of a novelty, but I think that's the great thing about mentalism is you can place mentalism routines together by having novel different ways of reading minds. Like you can only imagine, you know, if you had someone write something down, you read their mind, have something write something else down, you read their mind in the same way and you're using the same technique, that gets rote. That applies to a lot of magic, right? So even if you're doing similar things back to back, you can switch it up by the props you're using, and that also will change up the techniques maybe that you're using, or the perceived techniques at least, and that's pretty cool. So in the book, this is called TV Compact, I believe, Television Compact. Animan uses like a, you know, like a makeup case, right? That we might have like a little mirror, so like a compact mirror where you could open it up and do your makeup. But the great thing about that is it's a principle, so you can apply it to any small case. You know what I would have loved is maybe like an AirPods case, but you don't really have a lot of place to store things in it. But maybe if you have like a Bluetooth headphone case, depending on how it's designed, there might be enough room, obviously do it safely, but there might be enough room to put a small slip of paper in it. That's all you need. And so as long as it's openable, it's like a small little case and you can fit a small slip of paper in it, you can do it. So this, I didn't make this up. This is genuinely just where I keep this. I have an old SIM card from an old phone, and I have, this is actually like dental or orthodontist wax. And I use some of that as magician's wax in other cases, but I have just an empty case. And so for me, this might be a genuine thing. I say is like, this is random, but I have, you know, this random box that I keep for just things I don't want to lose. In this case, I have a SIM card, you know, and you can go from there. But apply this idea to whatever is organic to you. And in most cases, because of the ergonomics of how a case has to work, you're going to have one side that is clasped or maybe indented, whatever it might be. It's the side that you will kind of pull or push from, right? So kind of being aware of that is going to be helpful for the presentation. So you need that, and then all you need is a small slip of paper that you know will fit inside here, so you can tear it from a larger slip of paper, a business card, whatever, and you're going to invite the spectator to write whatever they want. So it could be a name, it could be just a random word, whatever it might be, but have them write a word down, and then they're going to place this inside the case. So for my sake, you'll see why I'm actually going to have them place it here. But then when it's behind my back, I'm gonna have it turned over so that then it will be here, okay? So that works for me because my dominant hand is gonna be able to pull this clasp up and away. And now because I've turned it over, this is gonna be showing, okay? So now here's what's happening behind the back. Like I mentioned, I placed this specifically so that this will be showing when I do get to have my peak, right? So it started here, we had them place it face down here so it looks very fair. When it's behind our back, we have it turned over so that then I can pull up on that clasp with my dominant hand, and then I can work this into finger palm and close this back. Now that's gonna be based on a lot of factors. So I have to fiddle around with these two notches here in my case, so it's not like the easiest slide because it gets caught in between there, right? But you can kind of work it. And in the case of a makeup case or anything else, you're gonna have to practice this to understand what's the quickest but most quiet and natural draw into finger palm that I can do. And so now you have it in finger palm, and the idea is that you're gonna come out with the case just like this. But how on earth are you gonna give yourself enough time to do that procedure, right? Because it is kind of brazen. Like we're just putting something in a box and then opening the box behind our back so that we can peek information. Well, what you're gonna be doing to get into this position and give yourself enough time is this really cool cold reading. So again, the moment you're taking it behind your back, you're gonna say, okay, and it's like you're looking at them, like you're thinking, and already you can start this procedure a little bit, but to get them talking and distracted, you wanna pretty quickly say, you know, I think of the second letter of your word, and they will, and then you can say, I think your second letter is slightly round, is it not? And it's just a simple throwaway that might give you a little hit. The reason is, most words, the second letter is gonna be a vowel. You know, maybe they thought of the word shack, and so that's okay. It might not be a hit. If they said no, all you have to do is make it more entertaining. So if they say no, you say, oh, perfect. This means you're someone who's a little harder to read. I love that. It definitely makes it more entertaining. It makes it more of a challenge, right? So make it positive if you don't get the hit. I believe I learned that little technique from Pete Turner. But oftentimes, guess what? You will get the hit because the second letter will be, you know, A or E. And that is hopefully what will give you enough time to get in position. So then you can come out and you say, you know what? You're thinking of, let's say they said Bob, you're thinking of the name Bob. Let that hit happen, and that is what will allow you to do a little fake dump, right? And that's like coin magic. So you open it and you do your little release of the card. You can do it pretty hidden. You can use all of your finger coverage if you want. It doesn't need to be pretty at all, because the idea is you've revealed the information. You say, was that it? And they say yes, you can pull it out, and you're using sleight of hand. You're getting that cleaned up, and now you are left completely clean. So let me know what you thought of this below. It's a little bit of an interesting one. Let me know what sort of case you think you could use to do this, and I hope you enjoyed the trick. Here's a cool mind reading trick you can do with just some business cards, a pen, and then anything you have at home, like a napkin or a paper towel or a handkerchief. So for this, you're obviously gonna need a business card or a slip of paper, but probably something with a little bit of sturdiness for sake of the trick. You're also going to need a handkerchief. Now, the reason I put that in quotes is I know that in modern times, probably aren't carrying around a handkerchief, but this is so cool. We're able to use techniques with more modern objects if we just think about it a little. And so in this case, if you're somewhere where they're using cloth napkins, so like we happen to use cloth napkins at home, so sorry for if there's any gross stains, I'm using these for real. But if you're out at a nice dinner or even kind of fancy casual, they might be giving you cloth napkins, and you can keep this in the back of your mind as an impromptu trick you can do. And I think that's why, you know, expanding your knowledge of magic literature is really helpful, because you're going to be able to see more situations you can use a trick in. So don't be daunted by the handkerchief. That doesn't mean this is, you know, stuck in the past. I think you can really use this today. And what Animan is doing, and this is so cool what he does, along with a lot of mentalism, I think, is that you're just taking magic techniques and you're using them in a way that allows you to do something new with it. So this move that we're going to do might be familiar to you from coin magic, which he mentions in the book, but in this case we're going to use it for mentalism. So have your audience member write something like a name or a question or a celebrity, whatever it might be, on the business card. It might help in this case to instruct them to write it like this. So maybe when you gesture to them, you say, just write a name right across there, something like that. That way it can be read in portrait mode as opposed to horizontal, okay? So they're gonna do that, and you're gonna have it face down, and then you're going to take a dinner napkin or handkerchief, whatever it might be, and you're drawing it over the card, okay? And for me, I'm left-handed, so this is, you know, maybe something you'll need to mirror, but for me, I'm gonna hold my right hand underneath, and I'm getting it so that it's under right here. You can see it. It's facing them, and it's under here, almost like that name is a ghost, all right? It's a sheet ghost, and we have it here. And your special move, you want enough cloth on this side toward you. Your special move is going to be gotten ready for by coming under with your hand and you're gonna pinch some cloth near, I'm gonna show you the exposed, near the edge. You'll see why in a moment. This will all come together, but okay, for now, kind of near that bottom left corner is where I'm pinching. And as I come under like that, I'm basically swapping hands, right? Because I was under with my right hand, now I'm under with my left hand, and I'm gonna give them a brief display of the card. So I give them that brief display, I come back, and now we do kind of the fancy move. And you're gonna come to the side. It's comfortable for me to come off camera, but I'll show you what I would be doing. So you're going to turn your hand down, and when you turn it down, you're gonna go from the card being underneath to now the card is actually behind. But the illusion is that you still kind of have this drape. You have the two sides here, and it looks like it's still just hanging over the card. So you're gonna do that as sort of a shakeout of getting all of the ends to go down. That's kind of the motivation. But then you're gonna be able to hold it right in front of them, and you're gonna have the information. Now in this case, you notice I accidentally made it go face down. Because you can't look at it ahead of time, you can't really control too much whether it's gonna be right side up or not. But what's great is you get such a clear peek here that, you know, it's gonna, if you luck out, it's fine, but if not, you're okay. You're gonna be able to understand what they wrote down. So now you're basically looking at the peak right in front of them, but what you're gonna be able to do is bunch this up, and from the front, it's gonna look like you just have that card trapped inside the cloth. You can even spin this around, and if you have a front pocket, you can place it there. If you don't, you can just gesture like, okay, we have it trapped in here, and then you can even bunch it up further, put it in your pocket or put it down, whatever it might be. All you have to do to clean up later is kind of make it messy, right? So you just kind of shake it around and it'll look like this just fell out from within it, whether it was on the table or if it's in your pocket, you know, just draw it out and it'll fall from your pocket. So that's how you clean up later. But take your moment. Now that you've gotten your peek, you can reveal it however you'd like. You can really ham it up. You can do some cold reading, but this is a technique, okay? This is a technique of getting a peek, but it uses a really cool impromptu method. So next time you're out for dinner, consider giving this a shot. You know, practice at home, get it all together, and I think you have a nice little piece of magic here. So let me know what piece of information you would invite a spectator to write down, especially with this presentation. Let me know in the comments below. A slip of paper that your audience signs or draws on actually travels from one signed and sealed envelope to another signed and sealed envelope. This is really cool. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so this is a really cool, basically like a card across, essentially, but put under really, really fascinating parameters, and this comes from Theodore Animan's Practical Mental Magic. Interestingly enough, though, this definitely feels more like a magic trick than a mentalism trick. And so I do want to mention that we are continuing to cover tricks from that book this month, so be checking back if you enjoy mentalism tricks or magic tricks like this. You're going to need a couple things: business cards and envelopes. And so I use envelopes that just the business cards can fit inside. And it doesn't have to be, you know, like an official business card. It can just be a stack of index cards, slips of paper, whatever it might be. You're also going to have a stack of envelopes that's going to help with some of the secrecy. And you're going to do a couple things. So first, you're going to place an extra card secretly in the top envelope. And then in the second envelope, you're actually going to place 6 cards and seal it. You'll see why later. So in your stack of envelopes, you're going to have one with an extra card in it, one that's sealed with 6 cards in it. And these 2 special envelopes are what basically make the secret happen with some pretty minimal sleight of hand. There is a little bit, but we'll get into that. So to start, you can introduce that you have some envelopes and that you have some business cards, and then of course a pen. And when you introduce the envelopes, you can give them a quick show. And because your prepared envelopes are here, facing this way, you're going to be able to open the flap of the bottom one or the bottom 2 as an example. I think by just doing this and showing the bottom one, they get the gist. Don't run when you're not being chased, right? And so then you're going to go over here and you're going to have an audience member write down anything they want. Now, you're not selling this as mind reading. If you were to do that, you would have to add an extra peek, an extra technique, an extra method to ascertain the information they're doing. So if you want to insert that here, you can, but it's really more of a prover of it being not a duplicate, okay? So maybe they write their name or they draw, like I did, a little stick man because that kind of tells a story of the transported man, right? Whatever it may be, they're going to place some sort of marker on a card, and they're going to count 6 other cards. So we're doing 7 and 7 is the idea. The idea is that we're going to have this stickman in a stack of 7, and then it's going to vanish, and that's going to become a stack of 6. And then when it reappears, it'll be the 8th card on the other 7. Does that make sense? So that classic kind of card across idea where you have 7 cards here, 7 cards here, this moves over, now we have 6 cards here. Okay, that's going to be the idea. So they're going to get 6 other cards to make that a stack of 7 cards, and they're going to just shuffle that around so that it's somewhere in the middle, and they can check for you that it's not showing on either side. And once they've done that, you're going to take it, and without revealing this, you're going to take this envelope, open it up, and place these inside. And that's why I think it's helpful to invite them to check that the piece of information is not showing, especially if you are going to add mind reading, because then it feels buried. So even if you're not mind reading, it's helpful for them to feel like, oh, it's really in there, right? But by doing that, you're also giving yourself a little more leeway to open this envelope toward yourself. And that way you can naturally hold these toward yourself, and they're not going to be worried that you're holding this side towards you. Okay, so now you've secretly loaded an extra card to this stack. Now what's going to happen is you're basically going to be switching this stack, and it's going to appear as though it is the second stack of business cards that you then reveal. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, you're going to invite them to seal it. So they're going to seal it themselves. All right, so they've sealed it up, and now you're going to bring this to the top, and you can even add kind of your own pressure to show that you're helping seal it more. And then you invite them to give you the pen. You maybe have the pen out somewhere. And as you're gesturing toward the pen and asking about the pen, you're going to do a double lift, okay? So you're just doing a 2-card lift, so you can get kind of a pinky break under that second envelope, because this is the envelope with 6. And you're just using card magic techniques to accomplish this switch. It's actually pretty comfy, if I can use that word, because as you're gesturing toward that, you're going to ask them, hey, what are your initials? And in that kind of question asking that always kind of distracts, you're going to do it's a very chunky lift, but you're going to do it more in this style of what feels comfy for me as I've read this trick and I've kind of been envisioning it is to actually keel the hand toward the stack. That way they're not seeing so much of this thickness. You can also look into, practicing this in the mirror, and do you want to cover with your front finger, for example, and go into that motion. But it's going to be brief, it's going to be quick, and if you've asked a question as well as gestured toward the pen, the vibe is, hey, what are your initials, by the way? And you go, okay? So it's not as fancy as you're doing with cards, where it can be burned by the spectator a little more. And by that, I just mean, them focusing on it. But play around, it's going to depend on your props too, right? But I think if you're doing that, you don't want to do that slowly. You could do it quickly. But now you're in this situation. You have envelope with 6, envelope with 8, that's the one with their drawing inside of it, and then you have all these face down envelopes. Okay, so they're going to say their initials, and you can invite them to sign themselves, or you can do it yourself. So let's say those are my initials. Now you can invite them to place this in their pocket. All you have to do is keel down, right? So go from here to here to hide that extra one. So they're going to take this, and now that's ready for later. Now from your stack, you're going to take 7 more, and you can invite them to peel these off, and you can have them once again genuinely place that inside this envelope, genuinely seal it. And I believe what Animan talked about is maybe having a second spectator do this if you can, so that you can then ask them their initials. And when you ask them their initials, or a different question, maybe a different word you want to put on this envelope, you've placed it back on this face-up stack, and you remember you have this envelope here. As you go for the pen or your business cards, maybe you're gathering these to put them away, right? You're going to flip these over in your hand, okay? That's also something you can do briefly back toward yourself or more close to the edge of the table. But this is a common move in Magic, is, this kind of hidden turnover of a stack of cards, or in this case, envelopes, because you're going to be going from here with the one to the one that has 8 inside. So he talked about it in coverage, like maybe you offer them the pen, and when they take the pen, they're just kind of distracted there. You have done the flip over that you need to. Another thing, since we've already done this move, this is a move lots of people use in Magic to execute a hidden turnover, is to just place the cards down in conjunction with exactly what we've been talking about. Questions, gesturing to props, whatever it might be. So you might offer them the pen, still do that kind of coverage, and then place this down and take a beat, and that will have also executed your switch. So just to recap, you have 7 genuinely placed in here and sealed. You're on this stack of face up, meaning the flaps are out. And you have that one from before that you prepared that has all 8. This has the 6. They seal it, you take it back, you gesture to the pen, and however's comfortable for you, you're gonna tell them, all right, what are your initials? Or what's something we should place on this? And whenever you have that beat, their attention is distracted, you make that switch. They're going to tell you what they want to be written on here. And now what's great, you don't even have to worry too much about this discrepancy. You can just go, all right, go ahead and place it right there. Get rid of all these envelopes at this point. You can pocket them. It really doesn't matter because you've executed the switch. So this is just a couple of switches. It's basically card magic, but it really won't feel like it as much because you have envelopes and pieces of paper. So let's say they just say their name, Bob, whatever it might be. And now you have 2 signed envelopes. And here is the perceived effect. They think that we have 7 cards here, 7 cards here, and we have a stick man inside. And here's what they get to reveal at the end. We go to this one first. I would recommend the one where cards have vanished from it to go there first so you can have your final reveal. All right, so you go to that first envelope. They're going to look through. They're not going to see their card, and they're going to only see 6. So 1 card has seemed to vanish. So of course, we go to the second envelope, and they will find 8 cards, and inside, on the correct side, they're going to see buried within is their stick figure or their name or whatever they wrote down. And that's the perceived effect. 2 signed envelopes, a signed genuine business card, travels. Super, super cool. And all we're doing is applying some classic, really standard, easy card techniques along with some misdirection. And you've kind of vamped up what would usually just be a card trick. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think people should draw on this in the comments below. But there you go. That is a really cool cards across trick. Thanks for watching. If you want more, you can check out the membership for some exclusive content. Pick up some merch from the Magic merch store. I also have a journal for magicians. You can check out all those links below. And if you want more free content, check out the video that YouTube is recommending to you right now. But until next time, keep enjoying your magic, stay a hobbyist at heart, and I will see you guys in the next video.